Using cell references and formulas. In this video, you will learn about the relative, absolute, and mixed cell references. A cell reference identifies which cell or range of cells contains the values to use in a formula. All formulas use a relative cell reference unless you use another type. A relative cell reference means that the cell is relative to the cell that contains the formula. For example, when you create a formula in cell C3 to calculate cell A3 minus cell B3, Excel finds that the first value, in cell A3, is 2 cells to the left of the formula. The second value, in cell B3, is 1 cell to the left of the formula. When you copy a formula, cell references are updated automatically and refer to new cells relative to the new formula cell. For example, if you copy the above formula down to cell C4, the new formula would be cell A4 minus cell B4. Notice that the first and second values are still in the same relative position to the cells to the left of the formula cell. In some situations, you may not want references to update automatically. You must use absolute or mixed references in these situations. Absolute references always refer to the same cell, regardless of which cell the formula is copied to. You can refer to cells on other worksheets or in other workbooks as well. Create absolute references by placing $signs in front of the column and row components of the reference. You can type the $signs as you enter a formula, or you can add them later.
You can mix relative and absolute references within a reference. For example, this reference is a combination of an absolute reference to column C and a relative reference to row 4. Mixed references are useful when copying many types of formulas.
You make a reference absolute or mixed by typing $signs while entering the reference or by tapping the F4 key. The first time you tap F4, $signs appear in front of both the column and row components of the reference, making it an absolute reference. If you tap F4 again, the $sign is removed from the column component only, thus creating a mixed reference. If you tap F4 a third time, a $sign is placed in front of just the column component and removed from the row component. You still have a mixed reference, but this time the row is varying. One more tap of F4 returns you to a relative cell reference. Okay, let's create formulas using cell references. First, I create a formula in the marketing expense cell, B9, to always reflect the value in cell, D18. To begin, I click cell B9 and type an equal sign. Then I simply select cell D18, tap F4, and tap Enter. Remember, tapping F4 once makes the selected cell absolute by adding a $sign to the column and row references. Take a look at the formula bar. A formula can consist of just one cell reference. In this case, you want the marketing expense to always reflect the value in cell D18. Next, I use the order of operations method to calculate the commissions for the product and contract sales. I select cell B10 and type a formula to multiply product sales, cell B4, by the commission rate, cell B19. Then I type a plus sign to add that to the result of multiplying the contract sales, cell B5, by the commission rate, cell B20. I make cells B19 and B20 absolute references, so those cells are always referred to when I copy the formulas later. Notice in the formula bar that I've created a formula containing both relative and absolute cell references. No matter where I copy this formula, it will always reference the commission rates in cells B19 and B20.
Next, I use parentheses to calculate the net profit, which multiplies the gross profit by a factor that is the result of the calculation in the parentheses. This calculation subtracts the tax rate from 1, which equates to 92.25%. Note that the calculation in parentheses means 100% minus 7.75%, or 92.25%.
I create a final formula to project a 2% increase over the base product sales. The sales in cell B4 is multiplied by 100% plus 2%, or 102%. I make cell B4 absolute by tapping F4 once, and I make cell C3 a mixed reference where only the row is absolute by tapping F4 twice. This mixed reference allows the column to vary when copied.